Welcome back, everybody. It's Polaris once again. I'm Twiggy. I'm joined by Got Moxie, and the next matchup we have is probably wait for it, the least polarizing map matchup we've had so far. So far, this is the top team we have so far in terms of map difference. Obviously, there are 3 teams up at the top. Finest so far just about eke out the best map difference out of all of them. And Alliance, who have not won a single map yet here in Split 1. They've gotten close. The past couple weeks, they've definitely improved. They look like a different team. They are a different team. They have a different roster, but they're actually looking quite impressive. If there was ever a time to make an impact, make a splash, it would be up against the most difficult team on paper so far in this split. So if either one of 2 things is going to happen. Either Alliance take their first map in the split, or Finest break the curse that they have cultivated over the split. So something interesting is going to happen no matter what. You're in for a treat today.
Yeah, I mean, you're saying like, oh, Alliance haven't been able to pick up an entire map against Finest. Finest do sometimes have to go for that reverse sweep tradition. They have only ever not been able to reverse sweep against Kova, the team that we saw in the last series being able to take their victory against Human Tripwire. So it's definitely going to be very interesting to see whether or not Finest are able to break that tradition of dropping the first map and then using that map to analyze their opponent's techniques, compositions, playstyles, and then turning it against them as they just hit so much momentum in those 2 remaining maps. Because of all of the teams that we have in the region, I would say Finest are the best at out-adapting their opponents.
Yeah, I mean, you may think, oh, wait a second, Twiggy, I remember when Finest beat Hookahs 2-0. What do you mean? They don't always lose their first map. Guess what? Hookahs were the top seed in that game. So, interestingly, it's only when it's their map pick for first map that they lose that first map. Yeah. Inexplicable. But maybe it's the pressure that gets them. Maybe they're a warm-up team. Who knows? Either way, all we know is that we've seen a lot of highlights from this team and a lot of incredible games. And the thing is, right, this is a team that looks incredibly impressive. The only team they've lost against is a midfield team. The only team they've won against, the only team they've 2-0'd has been a team also in the midfield, kind of. Well, Hookahs obviously are one of the 4-1 teams, but they're not quite the XL, that kind of thing, where they have looked dominant this whole time. Either way, here is your Finest squad, and what a squad they have been so far.
Yeah, absolutely terrifying when you look at the lineups before you even think about score lines and map pools, because these guys can just play everything. We've seen Kicks coming out with Yoru, KO, YACINE's able to just go between all of the duelists, Bonker and Machina and Destructive. They've all been able to round off in terms of Sentinels and Initiators and Controllers. Every single one of them can flex up their agent pool to a massive degree, and every single one of them can clutch things out, because sometimes you think, okay, yeah, if there's one person who can play all of the agents in that particular role, it's a sort of master of none, jack of all trades. Not for this team. These guys are extremely adept at every single agent they turn their hand to.
Well, on the other side, they are going to be coming up against Alliance, the team that has yet to win a single map. Bottom seed, they cannot get into the playoffs at all. All they can do is influence the rest of these results. But despite that, they have had a wealth of highlights. They have absolutely come into their own in the past couple of weeks. And even though they haven't taken any maps, they have made it difficult for teams to take their own maps.
Yeah, so for Alliance, I think the real struggle for them is that it's not a full team. They're still running with their coach, they're still running a couple of subs, and it's taken time to build that synergy. Like, what we've seen from them, we know with that synergy, with that time, they would have been extremely strong. They would have been one of those threatening teams that you do have to watch out for. But unfortunately, not coming in with this full roster means that when you're going up against teams who are so drilled in being able to pick apart compositions, turn around win conditions, and just absolutely steamroll with communication and coordination, they've unfortunately just not been able to pick up maps.
Yeah, I mean, in a sense, the base of this team is very similar in that they still, you know, obviously they still have Cider around, they still are an impressive team on paper. It's just that, you know, they haven't really made a lot happen with this new roster. After they parted ways with a lot of their star players, it's just been difficult for them to get a foothold so far in the scene. But obviously, you know, they'll always have another chance to do it. They're not... they're out of this series, but they're definitely an impressive team that I expect to see come through a little further. And if you're looking for a team, look no further than Teams.gg, the official team finder of Polaris. Once again, gotta shout those guys out. And yeah, no, I mean, these guys, I think they're a team with potential. Here's the thing, Alliance are a good roster. They have a great roster on paper. They just haven't quite made anything happen this series so far. I really want them to see them win their first map here on this one, just to show that they are capable of that. And especially, there's no better team to show that you're capable of winning a map against than the top seed so far, a team as fearsome as Finest. So if they can get that done, at least they can show how good they can be moving forward.
Yeah, I think for them as well, it's just been very unfortunate where it comes to the meta, because at the moment we see either pseudo triple duelist, with the chamber coming in for that third duelist, and then something like either Arena and a RAZE on split, or even sometimes Arena and Jet, chamber on Icebox, or double initiator. Like, a lot of these metas really do revolve around communication and coordination being absolutely key. What with Fade now coming into the mix, you're seeing even more communication and coordination. And to break things like KO and Omen setting up crossfires with flash drives, paranoias, and duck covers being utilized against it, you do have to really have that communication and coordination with your team, and just lacking that full roster. It's by far one of the worst times in the entire meta that we've seen from all of Valorant to be without those numbers properly.
Yeah, and that does mean this next part is going to be a little bit hard to predict. We've got map vetoes coming up, and obviously when your team isn't really the same team you've been playing with a lot, you're not going to have been as practiced in the maps that you play a lot of. So are we expecting anything specific from Alliance, or are we kind of... It's going to be Finest, I feel like, who are driving this map veto and kind of picking the maps for the most part. Obviously Alliance have maps they prefer, but with a roster that isn't quite the same as the one they've been playing a lot of their staple maps on before, it's kind of... It could be either here nor there.
Yeah, so I would say for Alliance, first of all, you want to try and go Haven, because there at least you can really use a breakdown of communication and coordination from the other side, right? The fact that that gimmick of 3 sites to play around with, even if there is coordination on 2 of the sites, there is only going to be 1 player anchoring on the other, and if you're able to hit with a full death ball strategy, you should be able to overwhelm and go toe-to-toe. Where I would say you need to actively avoid is things like Bind, where we've seen Kicks being able to flex into the Yoru and really putting counterplay into action, and also places like Ascent, where we can potentially see that Omen KO crossfire being absolutely brutal. It can be mixed up on the A site, it can be pushed over into Garden, but no matter where it happens, it is so hard for attacking teams to be able to break.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see Ascent. I think Alliance are probably going to be quite happy to try and pick Ascent. Obviously, if you were watching Twitter, if you were actually watching the little Valorant Regional League's kind of top 7 plays, you will have seen Neil coming through with a pretty impressive play last week on Ascent himself. So we're going to be able to see what the map vetoes are for this one, see what teams have decided to go for. Yeah, I'd like to see some more Ascent from Alliance, but honestly, it's going to really be comfort for them.
Well, it's actually Finest who are going to be banning out Haven. No surprises there. They know that it is going to be the place where that coordination can be broken down the most, and so instantly it's going to be removed. Alliance not wanting to run into things like Neon. They're going to be banning out Fracture and Breeze, which is, well, we've tended to see a couple of players go in for that Fade pick. So the maps of the day are going to be Icebox, no surprises, Binding, as you wanted to see. It's either going to be Ascent, and I think now more than ever it's going to put a lot of pressure on Alliance when it comes to not just the duelist role for Icebox, but also if we're going to be seeing Nile picking up that chamber. Now that Icebox has had all of the changes, especially the ones that have been made onto that B side, it is extremely important for the defensive chamber to be able to find an opening pick, so the attacking side can't just steamroll in, get that spike planted, fall back into yellow, and then with things like the Viper Snakebite, cycle through utility before the defenders can get a foot back through.
Yeah, I do think for Alliance, if we're just ignoring the fact that Finest's curse exists for just a second, just suspend reality for a second there, suspend your disbelief. I feel like it's going to be really important for Alliance just to block out the first map, just to make sure that it doesn't matter what happens in this first map. Finest, it's their map pick, and they're very comfortable here on Icebox. Alliance, I don't think they're going to be incredibly comfortable here, and they're coming up against the top seed. It's going to be difficult. And no matter what happens on this, you need to come into your own on your own map pick, and if you get to Ascent, that's also good for you. You've seen very impressive on Ascent. You haven't taken a map on it yet, but I can definitely see you guys coming through on this one, so this is going to be really important. I think this map, probably the least important of the series right now.
Yeah, interestingly enough, no one is actually going to be fielding a Killjoy, so you're not going to be able to use things like the Nano Swarms to delay spike diffusers. Both teams going to be picking into that Sova and Chamber, as well as the Viper. Where it's going to get a little bit dicier is the fact that Alliance are running the Sage, so they can just brute force the way onto those sides, drop the wall, use it as cover to get the spike planted, unless YACINE's in the vicinity, because then you can just satchel pack the wall and break it immediately. And with Finest being on the attack, first of all, you have to keep an eye on Kicks, because he's the guy who's going to be initiating things. Those flash drives are going to be instrumental in making it that Alliance can't put Nile in really offensive positions, force out that dash early, and then confirm that the side is taken with the jet gone.
Yep, there's battle. Double Sentinel versus double Initiator here. Quite literally. One of the most classic ones of all time. Finest open things up. Machina and YACINE get kills on the board. Malfoy waiting behind for a pick. Ooh. Are we going to see another trigger control area? And I don't think Malfoy's going to get quite as much done. YACINE finds his head. Now it's up to 2 more players. Side up. You're the last guy left. Snowman 1v4. Can't quite find the pick. YACINE gets his third, and Finest take the first round in a fashion that I expected, but it was still quite quick.
Yeah, it's going to be very dicey for Alliance, because you can see with those new jet nerfs coming on through that Nile cannot just be left to self-sustain and anchor one of these sites. Which means that Malfoy has to be there with things like the slow orb and the wall, but again, YACINE can either just satchel pack over or destroy the wall with that utility. And despite having lost pistols, Alliance are actually going to be playing into one of the more important values of the defensive side on Icebox, verticality. This is the reason why we saw Viper coming into prominence on the meta, so that you could use box and screen to block the impact of that one out, but scopes out at the exact wrong moment and won't find an opening pick.
Alliance, two sheriffs in this one. Not 2 sheriffs, sorry, 2 marshals. And they're both law enforcers. But Destructive will find the pick with the Ghost to take down the first. Prodigy, the sub. I think 1 pick out there, but YACINE and Machina once again just get on the board. YACINE finishes it off with another 3k. He's already on 6 kills. It's been 2 rounds, taking 0 prisoners whatsoever. Finest first 2 rounds, and this is where we expect to see Alliance, if they're ever going to come into it, this is where we're going to see the true potential of the side.
Yeah, it's got to be this round where they're able to turn things around, with Finest coming in, still with a couple of Bulldogs and a Marshal. YACINE, though, so close to the showstopper, is going to be rocking a Vandal, and that's the danger, because by putting themselves into positions where they can use those rifles, those distance about that spray fall off, they are going to be putting themselves very close and open to YACINE with that showstopper. And Drone, despite having a couple less seconds, is still going to get a lot of information on where Alliance are postured up on A.
Malfoy is going to be the first to hold it down. You can see that most of the team don't have much armor to work with. They really didn't gain any kind of economical boost from either of those rounds, with only a couple of kills to show for it. Out comes a showstopper for YACINE. Luckily, he gets boosted up onto a little higher ground than he would have wanted, and it misses the mark, but Alliance still forced back by that one. All suppressed now, pretty much. Malfoy gets a first pick. Bonkar is there with a trade. Nila, 1 more, but Kicks again there with a trade, making it a 3 versus 3 and wasting more time. Desmo finds a header Kicks. They need a little more than that. Destructive finds 1 more trade. The diffuser's already half done, and they need to force it if they want to go through. But Alliance do get that diffuse done. They will get the round, even if it was costly for them.
Oh, keep the Vandal. Yep. Curtis is able to. And yeah, I mean, the showstopper did actually connect Nile, but wasn't a full connection. And Alliance forced him to the sidelines. Thankfully, Malfoy's there with the heal, so Nile's health can be replenished, and then they can go again. And at that point, it's just keep Finest occupied. They're not in a position to be able to cycle that utility. Destructive too far away from Belt to be able to just continuously push in those snake bites as Machina gonna be buying into that operator. Desmo 3 kills away from being able to go toe-to-toe with it for the tour de force. And for Alliance, this means that they're having to really let Finest onto the site, play a little bit further back, get the information, pepper them with utility to try and get some of that HP dunked down, and then go for retake entirely with a full 5-person crush.
They will get one opening pick though, which will make that retake just a little bit easier. Especially when you have 2 Bulldogs in your hand, you definitely want every advantage you can get. Cider will get the first there. Destructive waiting around the corner. They did not see him with that Aldrome there, so I'm not sure they're aware that somebody could be that low, but Bunkar with the spray control will take down Malfoy and the head of Desmo at the same time. Find the third onto Codizy. Looking for more. Cider gets his second kill of the round. He needs more than that now. Machina comes around behind Neela. He does manage to take down Bunkar, however. Cider just going to stick this one, but doesn't have anywhere near enough time before Kix turns around the corner, takes his head off, makes it 3 for his team. Finest aren't looking too challenged so far, but Alliance have been taking away their economy steadily.
Yeah, the problem for Finest, though, is that even if they're without economy, they're going to have ultimates to play around with, and they're always going to have their headhunter. And for Alliance, too, they have to be so careful and so fast when that spike goes down, because Bonker's going to have Hunter too, and we've all been in that position where you get onto A site, you plant the spike, you set your Saber up and Belt, you wait for the sign queue of the defuse slot to come out, and then you activate the ultimate. And Alliance are sensing that they can't allow Finest that space to work with. They're wanting to get information on where exactly they're playing. Fragment's going to be clearing yellow, so Desmo can't even try and rendezvous up there and buy time for Alliance to get a rotation safely.
Let's get that free plant. Neela hasn't quite hit the mark, but at the same time, neither does Machina. Things even back up. He has 2 knives left to work with. Destructive trying to hold down that flank. He will take out Malfoy. Knows exactly where Desmo is, just trying to find that shot. Desmo can't quite find it with the headhunter. Neela trying to make some ground back, but Machina won't miss his shot that time. Just Codizy and Cider left, and there's no real way that they can make space. Destructive finds the head of Cider through the wall. Bunkar takes out Codizy. Flawless round for Finest. We expected them to take the round, but that is definitely convincing fashion.
Oh, and Finest are saving their heavy-hitting ults for when Alliance are buying in. They want to just decimate this defensive side's economy so that you can't buy into the operator. And say, okay, well, Delphin's got B side anchored. You're going to have to push A. And gonna do the job. They're going to have soon null command. Brute force their way onto site. Buy yourself the time to get this Viper's Pit into play. But looking at the buy that Alliance are coming out with, they know that they can't really gamble onto that operator. The long-term knock-on effect, if they lose a round with buying that one, is going to be too insurmountable. And instead, it's going to be kneeling. Super close. The press can't quite dash out until you get the pick. They would have found one, and the trade comes through.
Luckily, with YACINE down, takes away a little bit of that pushing power of the Finest side. You always want to get rid of that RAZE. Especially here on the A site, but they do use that Viper's Pit to give themselves some space. They'll try and get that spike down now as soon as possible. They're not going to really back Alliance too far out of this one, and especially in a 4v4, there's really no other way that Alliance can take this other than head on. So Neela, still good with the shots. Gets his second pick in the round, but it's slow from Finest. They're not overcommitting anything here. Neela gets his third, kicks down now, Destructive with the flick onto Malfoy's head, Cider up on the rafters, looking for a pick here, Destructive playing it slowly, in his own Viper's Pit, he can just play it for time, Cider very narrowly avoids being seen, and Machina trying to give him some support, but with 30 seconds left, they just need to get in, get that spike down as soon as possible. Viper's Pit is gone. Codizy gets the pick onto Machina, it's now all up to Destructive, he'll have to pull out an ace if he wants to get this round done, but with 16 seconds left on the clock, he's going to have to do it all very quickly, and Cider will finish out his dreams. 2 rounds for Alliance. That was well formulated.
Yeah, I mean, Finest may have been able to get that site and set the Viper's Pit up, but they did not have control of the outside of it. And Alliance are doing a very good job of placing that space. They dropped the spike carrier, so Destructive is forced to sacrifice the ultimate, pick the spike up, and try and get it planted into the ground, but not able with how close Alliance's members are playing. There's a reason Finest used that Viper's Pit. They knew in the next round they wouldn't be able to, because Cider would have the Hunter's Fury to be able to boot you straight on out of it.
Oh! Ouch. Yeah, that'll fix it. That'll fix it. But now they know exactly where it is. They know.
Did that just actually happen?
Kicks. We'll make sure that he's dead for good this time. Malfoy now trying to hold down the site. He's done quite a good job of it before. Machina won't let it happen once again. Flash drive round the corner. Kicks looking for some more space. Destructive takes out Cider, but the flank from mid of Codazy gets cut out by Machina. Neela. He got a 3k last round. Can he get a 4k this round? A bit of a taller order, I would say. And now he's suppressed, so that's even taller an order. I think uphill battle has turned into the climb by Miley Cyrus.
No, it has turned into get out of dodge.
Yeah, I don't blame him.
He's looking for exit frags. They're not chasing. Finest are basically making sure that they have the information on where the jet is, and then they can peek out one by one, force the reload animation, and then finish off the job. Like, they are so clinical when it comes to just chasing that one last player.
Yep.
And it's showing in Alliance's economy.
A team that doesn't go over the top is quite scary.
Yeah.
Finest calculated, they're cold.
They're terrifying.
Exactly, yeah. It's
they really are. They just...
Yeah.
They're like the villain.
It's like they make mistakes,
slowly
but they
approaching menacingly.
It doesn't seem like they make unforced errors. They make mistakes, obviously, and they give away rounds, but they just seem so in control all the time. You have to beat them. They're not going to let you let it happen for free. Oh,
Viper's Pit's in play. That's very early, and Kix has got no command, which is going to suppress the Viper and force you out. That's going to
not the greatest time.
Decimate that ultimate.
Not sure that was a good time to use that Viper's Pit, but Kodazy tried to keep it held down. Stays alive just about, but Kix has been let into the back line. Desmo saves Kodazy's life there. And Neela is trying to take space back, grabs that Vandal. Needs to use it to full effect. Does find the head of Destructive. Desmo's right around the corner here. Sorry, Bonkar is right around the corner. Machina comes up through mid, but Cider is there with that shot. Neela takes down YACINE, and it is just Bonkar left. 1v4. Neela with another 3k, making it 3-5. Finest, their curse seems to be continuing. This is a team that, on paper, they really should be destroying, and yet Alliance are keeping up.
Not with plays like that, though, because Kodazy actually volunteers the Viper's Pit to pull out the null command.
Nice.
And
Very
what
good.
happens is that, yeah, they're able to get the site, but they're not actually able to get deep enough, so he's able to wrap back into the Viper's Pit and sticks around for a little bit longer, long enough to buy time for the rest of the team to rotate in. By then, null commands run out. Finest have lost the pushing power. They've lost the one thing that they were using to monopolize that space over onto the A. And Alliance have taken out one of the bigger win conditions for Finest to work with. And yeah, Desmo's going to be suppressed and pulls back, has to wait behind that toxin screen that Finest have now set up. But once again, lacking that sage, not having that wall, look at the amount of utility they have to commit to make sure that when they're planting, no one just nips through that toxin screen and gets them on the exit.
That's a lot of damage. Desmo takes a pink shell to the head. And Finest can just play nice post plants here. They really don't need to commit anything into this one. In a 5v5 retake situation on the B site here, they have the advantageous position. Ooh, Machina comes around from behind. Neela is ready for it, and he puts his gun away. Kodazy gets one with a snake bite. Kicks finds side of it. Malfoy's there with the trade. Now, YACINE is just trying to slow them down. Malfoy gets another trade. Malfoy gets another trade. And, yeah, they get the defuse. Alliance are being given rounds, I'm sorry. It seems as if Finest are just slipping away in some rounds. I do think of them as a slow kind of, you know, they warm up. And they definitely come into their own probably around round 4 of the second game, but...
Oh. Hello, here it is. Win condition online for Alliance. This is exactly what Finest were trying to stop by decimating that economy. Operator is going to be out for the defense, and this is when it gets a little bit harder, because Finest have been putting a lot of attempts into just getting onto these sites very quickly.
You want to play? Let's play.
The operator is going to slow things down. Melee not quite able to find the space that they're looking for with that showstopper opening things out. In fact, the Tour de Force is going to pick out the Jet too. So now Finest can start to sprint towards the A side if they so choose.
Well, Finest clinical to begin with, but they need to do more than that. They haven't really made any position happen. They've just got a couple kills on the board.
And that was actually thanks to Malfoy, who was able to throw down a slow orb so that they weren't able to make it past Nest.
Oh, Cider is farming now. Alliance gained a bit of confidence over the past couple rounds, and now it is not Finest making mistakes that's giving them rounds. It's Alliance playing well. Cider overextends a little bit. Machina will find that kill. Now it's a 2v2, but again, Finest really don't have anything to work with as of yet. They still need to get all the hard work done before they can even get the spike down.
Well, they've got 39 seconds, and what Alliance don't have is presence over towards the B. Finest, they don't know that both of those players are going to be in that space. They did at least see that Courtesy was over onto the A, and with 24 seconds left, they should be able to get the spike planted. It's going to be uncomfortable with that sneak orb being that. And Courtesy is left in a 1 versus 2. He's going to tap that spike, try and fade out. Fence position, separates Bonka
he knows the last player is there.
Oh no, he's being able to use the poison orb to get half stuck. He's not going to go for the full though.
Oh, well played, Courtesy. Well played. Good information. Even though Machina got that kill onto Desmo, doesn't matter. They knew exactly where he was. They knew he was very far away from the spike. Well decided to use that cloud to get the half. Wait round the corner, get a better angle, take down the last kill. Alliance. 5 to 5. I am very impressed.
Well, Alliance keeping it extremely close. The only problem is that because it happened onto that B site, you were not able to pick up the operator. So Neela is not going to be able to hold that one down. But honestly, I would say not having that operator is kind of a boon in Alliance's favor. It's a little bit of a silver lining, right? Because it feels like when it's early round towards that A site, Finest have just become so adept at cleaning out rafters that I kind of want to see Nearly in a different position, especially with the way that we're seeing them posted. Both the Jet and the Viper positioned towards the B as Finest take a timeout. I don't think they were expecting this match to be quite so close, and with the Viper's Pit online and Cider getting closer and closer to the Hunter's Fury that can punch Destructive out of it, they're definitely going to want to be using it sooner rather than later.
Whee. Good flying. Well done. Join operator.
This is the difference in the stuff that goes through the play-by-play's head and the colors head.
Yeah, I'm no thoughts, only pretty camera work. Oh, yeah, Finest probably quite shocked at the moment. They've got to get out of their own heads at this point, because they've given a couple rounds to Alliance, and then Alliance just actually kind of dominated them for a second. No, Nilla! Oh, he hit the arch.
He hit the
Didn't
inside.
get out of there with the dash, but Courtesy will just clean things up with a spray through his own smoke.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh, actually no, opposition smoke.
it's the silver lining. If your dash fails and you're a sitting duck, at least one of your players is close enough to be able to trade that out. And speaking of close enough, no one's expecting Desmo to be that close, at least of what you've seen. As Bonka is suddenly thinking, oh, what happened to my team? I thought we were going to be pushing that B site a little bit faster. And then, as we were expecting, he's going to find one with the Sheriff. That will be all. And now, for Alliance, they're going to be feeling pretty confident.
I can't believe Look, we were talking before this one, we said, you know, Finest, they have this curse, obviously. Higher seed, they pick the first map, they lose the first map. I was thinking, if there's anybody they can break this curse against, it's gotta be Alliance. They haven't won a map. And yet, Alliance are 6-5 up. With Finest in a position where they just seem to be slipping. Round after round. If they don't get this one, I'm gonna be very worried.
Yeah, Neely's got the operator again, Bonka, trying to find where exactly the players are positioned onto A, but Alliance taking full advantage of that Hunter's drone nerf, making sure to keep themselves out of sight. And it means that the Hunter's Fury coming through is gonna be blind.
Ooh. No, Neela. He tried. Sometimes jet acrobatics are not quite enough. YACINE takes out Desmo as well, and Kodazi is looking the wrong way. Bonka shoots him in the back of the head. Something out of my member. Cider brings one back for his team.
Is that not the oddest shaped Viper's plane
Yeah, I
I've
know.
ever seen?
It's always fun to see one in the air. Just floats through. One of them, got to have seen the other there. Kicks is the one that saw Malfoy. And for good measure, let's use my ult to make sure Cider can't go anywhere.
I mean,
Can't use any of his shock darts. Perfect.
They've entirely pleased how Alliance are rotating from A to B.
Yep.
The suppressions come through, so they know that Cider is trying to wrap around. But there are 4 members of Finest, 3 of them hidden in the Viper's pit. Mashing up, holding in mid to make sure that Cider doesn't get cleanly out.
Okay.
And that will be all she wrote. Finest knew all they needed to do was just get onto site, drop the Viper's pit. Cider not gonna have that Hunted Fury. Not gonna be able to try and push them out. And in fact, actually, it seems, used the Hunted Fury, but got suppressed halfway through it.
Finest now have something to prove. Alliance are forcing Alliance to Alliance are forcing Alliance. Alliance are forcing Finest to bring out their second map heroics a little bit early.
Can we just appreciate this fight? It's the last round. Oh my goodness, Mashner is going for the shotgun. Like,
yeah,
this is a chamber who's just gonna
Hold on, where are we?
W.
Oh, where is he sitting? Oh my, yeah, he's just gonna sit around the corner in B main, of course. There it is. Cubby B main. Sit there, shorty in hand. Classic. What a classic position. That's a matchmaking position right there.
Friendly fire as well. To be like, okay, yeah, see, look, I'm the distraction on B. It's just me. It's only me. Walk into my chamber. Come on. Yeah. I dare you.
He is quite literally bait. That. Oh, uh-oh. He doesn't have a headhunter. He does not have a headhunter. He is stuck here. Catch him by surprise. A headshot is not enough to kill Malfoy, unluckily. In fact, it does more damage if you aim for the body with a shorty from that range. So, unlucky. But not over for Finest. It got a little unfortunate to begin with, but they can still bring this one back. Alliance have not planted the spike yet. Luckily, Finest have kept them back towards B main. All of the antics that went on over there have kept them all the way over towards yellow. So they still need to take position before they can defend that position.
Oh,
Finest still slowing them down.
As well, and they're trying
to
get
what a shock dart.
But both the poison orb and the shock dart able to play off of the decay entirely decimate the HP of that Sage. No spike plan for Alliance.
Destructive. He tried to pull a Devo. It didn't work. Now it's Bonkar and Kicks left. Frenzy from that range, not incredibly effective, but all they need to do is slow them down a little more. Kicks finds one more pick, making it a 2v2. Now the spike is planted. All they need to do is retake yellow. They can push in on that one. That recon dart does a lot to reveal those players and push them out. But Bonkar tries to pick up a Sheriff, gets domed by Cider for his troubles. And now it's a Kicks 1v2. He finds ahead of Desmo, but he is revealed. Cider knows exactly where he is, and he capitalizes off of that. Alliance take the pistol round of the second half.
Oof, it looks a little bit tough for Alliance when they invested that Sage wall and then weren't able to transition from the utility into getting that spike planted. Especially with those members pushed back towards yellow, but they're able to get the spike down, they're able to separate Kicks into the 1 versus 2. Desmo actually has a rendezvous left, so is able to TP up onto crates. Yeah, there it is. Oh, it's right in the middle of the poison orb too, so that decay just does enough at the shotgun as the cherry on top necessary to wipe out the Sage's HP, but Alliance now can guarantee at least that if Finest want to try and use the verticality that is afforded to Icebox, it is going to be costly, and that's why we're seeing the full gamble towards the B site. Side is going to be feeling those Hunter drone changes, making sure that no one is up close and personal in green, as the team very slowly pressure to see whether or not B is going to be cleared. They do not know that it is a full gamble stack towards the A site. And I think at the moment, yeah, we're going to see that Sage will even be invested to make sure that the spike is planted and no one topples out from tower. And now, Finest can start to rotate through. They do at least have kicks coming in.
Careful there.
To try and open things up, but it's a full eco from them. They're not even coming with utility. It's going to be so hard to retake this with their initiator lacking any tool of initiation.
Does Desmo know? Yes, he did see him. I thought he might have seen that. Sheriff from early around the corner. Cider, Malfoy getting on the board. Malfoy gets 2, Desmo gets 2, Cider gets 1. Alliance 2 casualties, not the worst in the world. And also keep that rifle in their hands.
Battle
it's
Sentinel.
Happening!
Battle Sentinel coming into play. Malfoy's keeping the Vandal. For Finest though, this is where they need to start to make a recovery. Kicks 2 ult orbs away from getting null command on, which will allow Finest at least a little bit of breathing room. If Alliance are able to take control of these sites nice and early on, you can play for the full retake. Sneelay's going to be trying to make something happen long range at the very start with that Marshall. Combo it up with the slow orb, and Destructive might not be able to escape that shot. Has to back out into the toxin screen to make sure that Sneelay can't capitalize off of their teammates' synergy.
Teleport's ready.
Well, if Alliance can convert this round, it's going to be looking very scary for Finest. We've seen how good Finest can be, how Finest good can be on buy rounds. All they need to do, grab these kills, stop Alliance from getting in, start to slowly claw back those couple rounds, and it's all uphill from there. All downhill from there, I guess. In a way, like, downhill is an easy, not downhill as in getting worse. Oh, everybody's revealed, but no shots from Finest find any Alliance players until Destructive gets around the corner. Cider is there with a trade. Codazy gets 1, but Kix is able to take down his teammate, and they know the spike is stuck in that corner. A hell of Alliance's own creation. Oh.
That's what he's doing.
That one is dead. Thank you, Shaper. You're doing my job for me.
30 seconds
Neela.
left.
One more pick. 2 more picks. 1v1. Well, he's giving Machina a lot of information on where he's going, but Machina still needs to either cut him off at the pass or go for that retake. The dash is going to set Machina a lot behind, but well turned. The Machina is the one who hits the shots, wins the round, but just about. That is not convincing from Finest.
No, and it is also not putting their economy in the best possible state.
Again.
That is what the defense really needs if they want to be able to hold on to places like A, because they don't have things like that Sage slow up that you can throw out to be able to slow your opponents down and set up those rotations. And we haven't really either seen Finest try and fly towards mid control, at least not as these rounds progress. Alliance, sensing that Finest are not going to be in the best of fights, they're going to be buying into an operator to make sure that Niue is able to just find that first pick from afar and keep Finest on their toes towards the A site. Toxin screen is going to be a little bit more one-sided. They themselves have used their own to try and throw a little bit of attention towards the B, and it's something that Finest can't really push past and try and investigate unless the judge wants to run into potentially 5 other players with rifles.
Ult is used from Finest just to keep him back. Bonkar also grabbing a kill here on mid and backs himself a Phantom as well as that. Meanwhile, Finest have made their way quite deep here on B, which happens to be where Alliance are going. They're going to have to go mid. I think they know that. I think they know we gave up this location. But there's Bonkar up in mid, waiting for those players. Cider there with the trade eventually, but Machina is now coming round the back. Cider knows. He does get the kill. I thought Machina for a second there was going to flick onto his head. But there is another
30
flanker.
seconds left.
They don't know yet.
YACINE does
stuck
only
in a
have the
corner.
judge at the moment. Should be able to, yeah, walk
There we
over the
go.
corpse.
Oh.
Grab the Vandal of their
Wow.
comrade and just gets Nile, the operator, removed before it can move up into belt. 15 seconds left. Alliance are running out of time to be able to get the spike planted, and you can see that Finest
10
know this.
seconds
They're setting
left.
off all of the Viper utility to try and stop that spike from going
standing.
through. 5 seconds showstopper coming out from YACINE, making sure that you can buy just the
Spike
time,
planted.
but it's not going to be enough. Alliance were out
Enemy
of
remaining.
the way enough that they were able to get the spike planted, and now it's the 1v1.
Oh, and Cider finds the ace. I didn't even have any time to set up some kind of cool thing to make it sound awesome when Cider got the ace. He just finishes it off. No problem whatsoever, no sweat. Makes it 9 rounds. Finest. Slipping behind a little bit.
Now in Alliance, I mean, you can see that Nile has not bought up this round, but you've got the Blade Storm. You can still put to good use. Slowly but surely, they're starting to anticipate these flanks. Yes, it does cost them the operator in that round, but
10
they're still
seconds
able to come out on top in the long run.
Player standing.
The round previous, it was that flank from Mashina that allowed the team to get the kills that they were looking for. Alliance adapting in as they're eyeing towards the B. Again, same toxin screen. Try and get Nile in safely.
In he dashes. Oh, he manages to get it! The rendezvous just doesn't go out in time. We saw it on our screens, but Neela decided he would replace our reality with a different one. Bankar also on very low HP after getting a little tagged up by Neela. Alliance still waiting to make their move, but they've already got that first pick, and that's a really important one as well. Wall goes down, they'll get that spike on the ground. This time shock darts, not as much of a problem, but they are going to be backed off by the paint shells.
Toxin screen down.
And Finest kind of stuck in an awkward position. Taken down one by one. Colizy finds the first. YACINE is there with a trade.
Kicks though.
Gives them a little more time to think. But they still need to hold off these players.
Yeah, Kicks is trying to set things up. That's the fragment. To try and catch any of the players who are using those last little ice
30
blocks.
seconds left.
Try and hide behind cover and open them up, but YACINE's had to back all the way out. Bonker's on 25 HP, is able to find one with the frenzy, but it's just Kicks. With one flash drive, and the Sheriff, who's being hunted. He's found underneath tube. Spider will pick it up, and Alliance are gonna hit double digits. We said it was a possibility. We said the Finest. Every single time they've been the highest seed, they've been the one to field the first map. They have always lost that pick. It has always been the reverse sweep that they have had to mount, and Alliance are looking extremely comfortable. So much synergy coming out from all of these members.
Yeah. Nothing to fault them on whatsoever so far. They really took the opportunity that Finest gave them and went all the way to the bank with it. This time Finest, they don't want to give him anything. Kicks moves all the way up, suppresses 3. Alliance wait. They've been quite good at that so far. Just waiting. Letting Finest sweat a little bit before they decide to do anything. Now comes a Hunter's Fury. Very early again from Cider. He manages to tag one, yeah. Not too far away, just.
No one's dislodged Kicks though, and you've still got both your flash drives. Oh, and that Viper positioning of that Snakebite is now going to give away the position of where Courtesy is. Hulk gets one, gets a second, is finally taken down, but you've already stunted Alliance's push. Malfoy's having to use the wall just to try and get the spike planted, but they're just being chased out. The Hunter's Fury not allowing them to stay in that position. They're just having to duck and weave and try and bait out fights from Finest across in and duel out Cider.
Cider taken out. The Rez. Last-ditch effort to try and keep this spike defended here. Malfoy brings it back to 3 players, but Colizy goes down. That makes it 2 once again. Malfoy takes out Destructive, but the half has already been got by Machina. 1v2. Finest. Looking in control, and there comes Machina from the side. Finishes out the round. They'll get that defuse. They'll make it 10-8. They really don't want to let Alliance get back into this one, but it is tooth and nail every single round.
Yeah, and now as well, they're going to be far slower if they do want to try and push onto that A side. Finest are very much attempting to condition them into expecting there is potentially going to be a KO posted up, and it is just not expecting Kicks to be in that position. that really punishes them. They lose so many of their members, they're forced right onto the back foot. The fact that we see that spike attempted to be planted that many times by Malfoy, and then constantly having to reposition. And Finest now starting to find their feet, smashing up, flying into the operator. Gonna be going head to head with that tour de force. Gonna be on both of these chambers if we see any movement made onto that B site, or at least getting the information to relay that you don't have to worry about green being quite so close.
Spike down B.
Well, 4v3. This time Alliance aren't going to make it through. Machina. A quick shot, a quick flick onto Neela. Got a Z there with the trade. Waiting for him to jump down. But it's still 3v2 because he needs to do a lot more than that.
Last player standing.
Taken down by Bonkar. His information gave away by him destroying that boom button. Now it is just Desmo. Tour de force in hand. We've seen people get a lot of kills with these already, just today. Keeps himself hidden. Stays quiet. Spike is in hand, waiting for Finest to move away, to become unsuspecting of his positioning before he makes his move, before he strikes on sight. Spike ready to go down, but he's going to search a little further. Oh, Bonkar has seen him there, though. He's going to try and get the spike down. He doesn't manage to get it down, but he does manage to find the head of YACINE. He's got 30 seconds left to deal with stuff. He's still got the tour de force in his hands. Bonkar is waiting around the corner to try and do something, but he knows he can't really push too far out of this one. And Desmo's going to go hunting for kills now. He's ready for this. Bonkar right round the corner, but Bonkar is the first one to find the shots to get the kill. And Alliance make it 11 rounds. They are 2 away from their first map here in the split one of Polaris.
Yeah, and better for Finest, they were able to pick up the operator as well. That's why Desmo was really wanting to continue to win that round. No point in trying to save the tour de force. And actually plays everything perfect. Knows that the KO is still going to be in play. You have to go for that Sova. While they're isolated away from their teammate before the flash drive can come through. And make that 1 versus 2 even more unfair, but for Alliance, it's going to be the unfair fight of a Marshall versus an ARP. Normally, when we see the Marshall, like, okay, well, maybe we'll find a pick from that distance, but this late on into the series, where most of the members of Fine start rocking that heavy armor, and you're having to contest the operator, it's going to be just a little bit harder to be able to pull something off.
Kix gets the first pick over onto Desmo. It's an impactful one to get Finest another chance in this. I just realised that I said Alliance were on 11 rounds when I knew that Finest won the round. I don't know why I did that. Oh well. We move.
Okay, our Alliance going to clear Kix. They're not looking up, and that is not the best.
No, it is not. Oh, Kix is waiting. But it's YACINE who opens things up. Malfoy is there with trade, but that just makes him less aware of Kix positioning. He'll find the first and the second, and now it's just Neela left. And Kix finishes it off with his 4th kill of the round. It's 10-10 now. Finest not letting this one go without a fight.
Kix is just looming. Batman-like. Just surveying his kingdom. And it's the trigger discipline too. You'll see it in the replay in a second. Sees the ponytail of the Sage, sees this over. Sage entirely. That the KO is there, and by the time that it comes through in the comms, it's too late. Kix has already worked away with a tasty 3k and charged up that null command, and now for Alliance, they can try and get onto the site fast, but Kix can just play further away, play pest with the null command, and all that space that you're going to be trying to buy up will be taken back in a matter of moments. If you can even get onto the site past this operator anchored over towards the B. Ooh, that's
wow,
dicey and confident. Wants to go for the jump so you can attach the recon bolt past the crate, but puts you right into the arc.
Destructive is waiting here at yellow. He finds the crucial pick onto Neela. YACINE gets involved with a showstopper, and ooh, Malfoy was smooth with the aim, but Bonkar is a little quicker to the head. And Finest make it 11. 2 more rounds for them to break their curse.
Starting to go for that overtake. And when you look at the buy that Alliance is coming in on, they're having to make that hard decision. They have to eco into this one. It's only going to be Courtesy coming in with that Phantom to try and find that last pick. So so that you can charge up the Viper's Pit. The one thing that should be able to try and mitigate this operator's impact. But again, to use that Viper's Pit, you are going to want to be on one of these sites, and Mashner is just frothing at the mouth, sees the activation of the drone. Decided this time around is not going to try and punish that op shot reload time. He's instead gonna keep himself nice and safe as, oh, that's gonna be cruel. Destructive sees the headhunter before Desmo can see the Viper.
He does hold that very far out in front of him. That is his own fault for having a completely straight arm holding out that gun, you know?
Chamber's gotta be counted somehow.
I guess so. Destructive has held his end of the bargain for the team. The rest of them trying to get involved now. Kitchen still unsecured, but that boombot is going to give away Neela's location. Malfoy finds his first pick, but YACINE taking down Codazy makes it that much more difficult. One headshot from the Spectre is not going to do enough, but one headshot from the Sheriff will definitely find that kill, and it's now just 2 players that Cider needs to get done, and he has been an incredibly impactful member for the team, but this time YACINE takes the kill, makes it match point for Finest. They're on the edge of the first one of their map picks in first map that they will ever have won in the stage 1 of Polaris, which is an insane thing to say.
Oh no, it's match point for Finest. They've got the null command, they've got the Hunter through. For Alliance, their entire win condition hinges on trying to use this Viper's Pit, get onto site, and take control of it fast, but Kix is just going to be able to, the second that you see players, either activate null command, or just hold it.
Take flight.
For that retake fight, and Finest actually are choosing to use a Viper's Pit of their own. If Alliance want to try and push through, they're gonna have to get past that Viper's Pit, and Bonk is gonna be there with the Hunter's Fury at the end of it.
Neela gets the first pick. Crucial for them. If there's any round to start flipping back that momentum, it is definitely this one. But it slows down again. As Finest, they know they're right on the edge of this one. They don't need to push, they don't need to be aggressive, they don't need to give anything away to Alliance, but Alliance, they know that they're coming up against Finest.
They also know that they're pushing A site, which is where they haven't been able to play Kix twice in a row, so their approach to this site is going to be far slower. And YACINE on Raptors is going to get such an easy couple of first shots. Kix has been spotted out. The Snakebite going to be limiting that KO's movement, but still Alliance not able to walk forward. Satchel back, making sure that you can't try and move.
YACINE is trying to defend
left.
Kix's body there, but that is about that. Kix will also be taken down very shortly. Well, Machina, can you 1v4 this one? If you want to get this done for your team now, you still have enough money to buy next round, so it doesn't matter, but no, okay. I thought maybe 1, 2, keep it interesting. No, okay. Desmo just hits the shot.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Mashner was just looking for that last pick to potentially be able to push up into that tour de force, but we'll be able to now afford that ultimate. Alliance 1 round away from the second overtime that we could see today, Twiggy, but Finest still holding on both to the Hunter's Fury and the tour de force, and 1 point away from that showstopper. Alliance, at least, do have the Viper's Pit, but now they've waited so long to be able to use it that 2 of its major counters are still going to be in play, and that's going to make them very reluctant to throw that one in until either those 2 agents are dead or those ultimates are spent. Play Kix. Play Kix. Oh, the drone doesn't last long enough to clear Kix.
It's too short. The Alliance, at least they've bought themselves around here. They just need to keep them back one more time. Well, not keep them back, but get their foot in the door more. Then keep them back after that one. Neela is going to be the opener. But now he cannot dash, cannot updraft. Not for a few seconds at least, so they're going to slow down their attack once again. 50 seconds left on the timer. And out comes the Hunter's Fury. This is where they're going to make things happen. The Showstopper doesn't manage to find a pick, but that Hunter's Fury does work. Cider takes out Kix. Not before he can do some damage of his own. Now in they move. The resurrection is going to give them some space. The Viper's pick going to give them even more. And they're going to get in, try and get that spike on the ground. The wall goes up. They give themselves as much to work with as possible. Bonkar is not going to let any of that utility get in his way. But they have got more picks now. They can get that spike down. They can try and get it to overtime. It's just a few more kills that they need to get themselves over the line onto this one. Bonkar round the side. The Viper's pit, a massive... Well, I was going to say a massive obstacle to getting in, but there is no Viper's pit anymore. Malfoy stranded on site. Finest players moving in from all sides, but Malfoy does well to get one away. Destructive finds the pick, but Neela turns around the corner at just the right time to find the trade. It's now just Destructive versus the world to try and finish out this in one fell swoop, but Desmo makes it overtime.
Well, we said that we could potentially see overtime for the second time today, and it is going to be overtime for the second time today. And that means that both of these teams have to be able to get 2 rounds in a row to be able to secure this map. For Alliance, this could potentially be the first map that they're able to take in the entirety of Polaris. Finest, this is their chance to finally be able to pick up their own map picks. Immovable object, unstoppable force. One of these is going to change, but with Neely on the defense with an operator, well, Finest are definitely going to be trying to move up a mountain.
That is the issue. It's which team is going to crack first, really. This really could change things. This one round, well, 2 rounds, I guess, here. Desmo revealed. Finest too far away to capitalize off that one. Malfoy waiting to put up that wall, just slow them down a little bit. Malfoy's done incredibly well on his defensive side at stopping Finest from getting in. Codesy, they know exactly where he is. They're going to force him outside of that one with a grenade. Finest still not able to make their way in. They forced out a lot of utility, but not much more than that. Neela holding down B main. Takes out Machina.
They know at least that the operator is not playing up from rafters, and with the Sage Wall and Slow Up now spent, we can start to move on forward. There it is. It's going to be a 3 versus 3. Kicks, uses the 0 point. It's going to be able to dictate where 2 of those players are holding from. Sighted Suppress not going to be able to peek out from rafters and use those 2 shock dots. They'll be able to stop that plant from going on through.
Kicks finds a pick onto Malfoy just round the corner of the wall. I think Malfoy's shots all hit that wall. Did not find the player he was looking for. Cider trying to take some space, but he doesn't know there's somebody up top. Kicks finds his second pick of the round, looking for the last to finish things off. Neela gets one with a classic, but he has a lot of work to do. Operator in hand, taps that spike. But out comes the Hunter's Fury, and that pretty much seals the deal for this round. Neela doesn't have anything to do. Destructive finishes things off.
And I think for Alliance, they really need to get that defensive side, because that's where they've looked far more comfortable. On the attack, you've seen how many times they've been caught out by Kix's positioning sitting onto that A site. And the fact that they're going to be at least seemingly sniffing around there as the round starts does give me a little bit of cause for concern. But the problem is, not only is the KO going to be on that A site, you're going to have a toxin screen to fall back onto. Desmo's just trying to get any information of where these players are, see if Kix is trying to stop you from pushing up into places like Tube or Kitchen, but he has been playing so cautiously, so sneakily onto that A site. And Alliance, to be honest, would just give us such a wide berth of that space. It's been so costly in the long run.
That's one hell of a useful pick. Desmo takes out YACINE. Gives them slightly more chance in this round. And every little bit they can get is a massive boon as they move forward here. Get their defense taken down. Just a little chip away at that wall. But they have not taken down Machina with that operator. Luckily, he is not on the site that they're going towards. They'll have to take some time to get round there.
Got a Sage Wall too.
They're playing for a retake here, they know. At the very least, they're not going to commit any bodies into this one. Bonkar sprays through the toxin screen and finds Cider. And that takes down the spike as well. It's on the ground, it's been picked up.
30 seconds left.
They still need to make position happen, and Neela sees Kick just too late. fully flashed. Kix finds another pick. Looking for Malfoy now. Bonkar takes him down, and it's all but over. Desmond? Desmo, with 4 picks left to get. 32 HP. 13 seconds. He will be able to get the spike down,
10
but
seconds left.
can he defend it? It would be the play of a lifetime if he could get himself in a nice position and hold off the finest players hounding him down. Machina makes the right choice, stays back, waits for the rest of the team to join him here, and he'll take the shot, and he'll find this map to break their curse. 14-12, the first time they have won their own map pick as the higher seed in this stage of Polaris, and it's 14-12. It was not an easy win.
Yeah,
It was well fought by Alliance, but it's not enough.
It all falls apart for Alliance at the moment of that spike plant attempt. The fact that they use the toxin screen instead of the sage wall, hoping that they can hold on to that crucial bit of utility and play the delay game with it just a little bit longer, is unfortunately their hubris. They lose the spike plant. They have to send their forces to then pick it up, commit the wall that they themselves wanted to hold on to. And with that just taking a little bit too long, Finest, who were already in position to swoop in and play for that retake, pounce. Kix from tower is able to find so many picks that unfortunately all you have left is one chamber who has to hoof it over to that A site, doesn't even have enough time to be able to clear site, just has to get that spike down, and then with only 34 HP try and go up against all of the remaining members of Finest, who still had so much utility and an operator to boot.
Player standing.
Indeed. Well, Finest, I mean, we didn't know what to expect coming out of that one. Obviously, Alliance are not expected to beat Finest in this one, but we have not seen Finest win their first map pick as long as they're the higher seed at all yet so far. And no matter what it shows on paper, superstition starts to creep in, and you start to think Finest just can't do it.
It wasn't just superstition. It was the fact that Alliance for their defense was looking extremely strong, where it all fell apart. There's these moments here. Just not clearing Kix and then putting so much stress and utility into the potential of that KO being there that they just eventually have to avoid. The entire half of that map entirely makes their movements extremely easy for Finest to predict. And they literally, with this chamber, RAZE, and KO, have the absolute pick of the litter when it comes to map control. Something that for Alliance, when you're on the attack, you need to have a whole lot of.
YACINE bags himself a 337 ACS to put Alliance in the ground on the first map. Cider, though, puts up a 278. Coming into his own on that one very much, and everybody on this lobby getting above 150 ACS means that it was definitely hard fought from everyone on the server, but unfortunately unfortunately for Alliance, Finest, don't let them take that one away. Alliance do not get their first map. Luckily, they have their map pick coming up next, but is it enough to keep away Finest? Is it enough to stop Finest from warming up all the way, taking a 2-0, and coming away with that 5-1 scoreline at the end of week 6? I don't know. Do you think Alliance can win their map pick?
I mean, from my prediction, I predicted Finest alongside all of the other casters. I feel, though, that the Alliance are going to look at the performance that they put on Icebox, at the fact that they were able to take it to overtime at the rounds where they were dominant and able to overcome Finest. They were able to outplay Finest's win conditions, thinking back to that round where they sacrificed the Viper's Pit for the greater good, so that they can pull out that null command, not having to worry about that one knocking them over when they go for the retake. Like, this is an Alliance who are cold and calculating. This is the Alliance who are very reminiscent of the team that we saw in Split 1, and going into their own map pick, I think out of the entire season that we've seen them for Split 2, they have the best possible potential to be able to take a map.
Well, we're going to head into a quick break, give Alliance some time to think about what they want to do on their map pick, but we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Let's see if Finest can win it 2-0, or if Alliance can get their first map on the board.
Player standing. One enemy remaining.
good as he's going to be able to hold on to that operator. He's going to get through that teleporter. A bit more safety. Secured, but he's right after him. Okay.
Euro overrated, Chamber outdated, long have we waited, Hookah's activated. There you go.
Thanks a lot, and thanks for having me. Cheers.
They've given it to him. Okay, better than nothing. Finds another kill.
Oh, this becomes doable.
Right in front of him. And now he's got a weapon to work with, but no, he doesn't pick it up. Instead, he pushes forward.
Oh my God!
Another destruction for destructive right now, but if he moves into the dark cover right away,
No!
it's his round to win.
What?
Goodness me, this just didn't happen.
I need a breather. That was
Seriously.
unbelievable.
He's shed now, going to try and go aggressive, walk straight to the crosshair. Chihuahua, good for 2, looking for 3, which he delivers. You didn't need to question him, he comes online brilliantly. We were waiting for the Chihuahua show, and there it is.
But I do want to give a shout out to Chihuahua. I think he is a pain in the ass to face. I'm guessing he's sitting in a dark room because I don't know, man. Like, he is zoned in. Like,
In for another, Sopper comes in for support. Platatech a double, spraying away. Hang on a second, I counted them out, but now it's a 1 versus 1 against Vicious. He's got a fair amount of HP to work with. Outline will come on board as well. 2 versus 1, and he manages to clutch it out. Platatech, a quad clutch at XL. See out their opponent's map pick, and what a story that is. For them to close it out, I counted them out. I sat back in my chair. I was like, hey, oh, this one's done. No,
Can I say one last thing? I gotta say, I feel really bad for Finest. We're gonna play them after Heat. And yeah, as I just said, I just feel so bad. Because we're gonna kill Kicks. We're just gonna see where he is. We're gonna kill him. And they're gonna play 4v5 permanently.
A few moments later.
Here is the aggression we see from Finest.
All the way through mid, YACINE fully blind, takes down Lucky. Net, it's Robbie versus the world. Do you have any choice words for them after that one?
I do troll around sometimes, you know, saying they're gonna lose, but at the end of the day, you know, they were really great teammates, and I played with them for months, and it was really enjoyable. And I mean, at the end of the day, we are friends. No bad feelings towards them.
That was a really, really wholesome answer. Thank you.